Are you looking for an educational tool that has stood the test of time and also has some new flair? AI-powered education is next. Hi, Casey and I are here because we know how important good time management is, and we have an educational tool to share with you today. Sometimes we talk about pedagogy and philosophy, and sometimes we like to share tools, and today is a tool day. And the thing about the tool we're going to share, the educational tool, is it has a background that has become pretty trusted in education and has deeply been researched. Money has been put into it, and it's also really great for educators and learners and parents. I mean, it's a great tool.
Mhm.
So, what are we talking about, Casey? What tool is it?
Well, I would say the big parent company we're talking about is Khan Academy, but within Khan Academy, we have the AI assistant for teachers, which is Khanmigo, and that is a free, always free, hopefully forever free tool that really touches on a lot of the things that I think you and I have discussed on this show, but also that I hear from my colleagues, things that they look for. So what we want to do today is show you what this free tool looks like. And not necessarily to say, here's an advertisement, we get some kickback from this because we don't. That's not really our thing. But what we want to show you is like the time you can save by investing a little bit of time, maybe just researching a free tool, right? Like
Right,
the time you're going to save just looking into this to say, like, what can it do for me? What can I get out of this? And how will I be able to help my learners? And this
right,
is sort of the blanket one, right? Like this will
right.
cover a lot of things.
And
So,
it right, and not only as Casey brings it up, not only is it this so many varieties of tools that you can use. What I find is super powerful too, and we'll get to it, is the additional resources that are out there support because sometimes you don't know what should your AI plan be? What should you say to caregivers? What do you want to propose to administrators? And they have like template letters and template documents.
yes.
So something to
Right.
take.
This to me makes a really clean, easy transition into being a user of AI, but also promoting it within your school to say, like, I would really like to see this be something that my colleagues and I use, that I could say, I know this is a resource that other teachers have available. So, what you're looking at now is my screen for the Khanmigo tools. And I'm just going to walk you kind of through this so you can kind of see a little bit more. What you see are my favorites. So these are tools that I have favorited, just this little star that shows you like there's a variety of things that I can use here for planning out lessons, for planning out curriculum, for planning just in general in education. This is the behind the scenes kind of work that I think is very time consuming. Coming up with questions for discussion, coming up with the topic for an exit ticket so that you know if you are checking learning at its core. How do I start? I've got this great lesson plan. I know that my students are going to be invested in it, but I want to hook. And that speaks to me as a public speaking teacher too. I want the best way to grab attention. And then there's creation tools here as well. So this is like I need you to help me come up with some questions for an assignment for maybe a student-led discussion. Maybe I need to get something where I am assessing the student's ability to think critically about something. And so the create tool, I'm just going to kind of like go up to these tabs and
Yeah.
show
And,
you,
be, and before
obviously.
you, yeah, before you do that, I just want to mention too that again, there are way more tools than this. These are the ones you favored yourself
Yes,
because you
these are
really
only
like
ones
them.
that I've favored. So you
Right.
can see these different colors indicate the different types of tools that
Right.
they have available. And so when you click on just planning tools, I have 4 out of these available to me in my quick favorite list, but I can always go to this plan tab and see what else is there.
And
Um,
and I just
yeah,
want to
go
say
ahead.
too, for new teachers, because I work with a lot of new teachers, and just to think about, they're always just like a little bit fearful of what they have to create all the time and how much time it's going to take. But just what you had before, like the exit ticket,
Mhm.
quick and easy, and it's going to be tailored just to what you need. That's the best part. It's all these things can be really tailored exactly to what you need. Rubrics. I mean, some of those things, if you're not doing a 1 point rubric, which I might recommend, but if you're not, I
Mhm.
mean, it takes a lot of time to create
Mhm.
those rubrics. So again, I just think about new teachers that may not have a lot of tools yet in their toolbox getting ready to teach. These are things that could be really helpful for them. But not only new teachers, as Casey's using herself as an example. These
Right, right. I mean, I am going back to lessons that I maybe think are tried and true that I feel are really great, and maybe I'm reassessing them. I'm seeing what else I can do because again, my students are different every year, even though the standards are somewhat similar. There's some adjustments that we're making this year to our English language arts standards, but otherwise things are consistent in that way, but our humans that we see in front of us are unique and special. And so I like to think, how can I differentiate things always to make it more interesting for them and who I see in front of me? So you can see some of the really creative tools, ways to differentiate. I love the leveler because I like to find text in a variety of locations. And that is truly what my students are expected to do as well, is go out and find information in a variety of ways and then try to make it accessible. And while there are great tools for leveling, work, let's say my students are using a database and that within, maybe it's Britannica or it's some other type of vendor that has leveling options. Students don't always understand that. They don't always get like, well, what's my level or how do I know? And I think that having an ability to adjust the complexity of any text that I have to suit the needs of my students is a huge time saver. I
and so
just can't
helpful
speak.
for each learner, like to personalize
Yes.
it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. And then the support tools, creating some assistance for writing IEPs. I know that our special ed department appreciates those things, but also for me as an instructor who gets an IEP and I see, the expectations, and then I think, well, what does that mean for me in my classroom? How do I take those notes and those expectations and modify it to meet what I do in my room, which is different than what the math teacher does, which is different than social studies and all of that. And so having that assistant is really great. And then this is really fun. Okay. So I know a lot of us are like, oh, I know everything, right? I went to school and I learned it and now it's in my brain. But the problem is every year when things adjust and you change, all of a sudden you're teaching a class that you haven't taught, or maybe you had one course on it in college and that was 20 years ago. Now what? There's the refresh my knowledge, which is a great tool for any educator who just honestly needs that. And it's more of a chat that you get to go back and forth on. So, it asks you, hey, let's get ready to learn something. Let's see how you can do here. Give us a topic that you need to focus on and what's your grade level that you're working with, and it can kind of have that back and forth. So
Well, and
just a, yeah,
that's the whole idea behind Khanmigo, right? Because I know some people might say, well, what's the difference between Khan Academy and
hmm
Khanmigo? But again, that Khanmigo is that interactive back and forth. And so it's not just for the, the learner, but it's for us as learners as well, and to go back and forth and get that refresher, just like you said. But
yeah.
anything else you want to say more about that? The
Well, I
difference
just would say
between
that once you get established and you are ready to start using this, you and I removed this from here just because I didn't want to accidentally show anything that my students are doing. But you can add your school and then you can add your classes here too, so that you can create a space that is specific to the group of students you're working with, which is key when you get into actually, maybe you're in the planning stages and you're not sure who's going to be in your room, and you can use these tools to kind of get that started. But now you have all these humans in your room and you're ready to start working with them. This is what's awesome, is you can create a class and you can include your students in that. Obviously, I would encourage you to talk to your administrators and to ensure that you have the backing. But I think once you look around on here and you see how you're collaborating with this tool and it's not not replacing, your face-to-face. It is you truly getting an assistant that will help you execute the best lessons possible. Your administrators will be behind you on that. So this is where you'll see your students and be able to interact with the things that they do. Any sort of additional, maybe you have a document that you love and you want to use, you can definitely use that and create from it and expand
And
on it.
again, these are places where, how do you talk to parents or caregivers about some of these things? What are it just has so many additional resources for you to save you time. And sometimes we don't always know maybe the right language to
Mhm.
talk about some of these things. We know we want to use them, but then trying to craft a letter about it is a whole nother thing. So again, just all kinds of resources um, that are helpful.
Yes, and I think that all of these resources are really, really thoughtful. You can use them alongside of other, avenues for finding ways to talk to administrators and to talk to parents and to talk to students about what you do in your room. But I mean, why not use what they say, in their documents is a really great kickstart for all of that. So, the Khanmigo tools, though, are really just a kind of a play around and see what you want. You can do this search tool where you can type in something that specifically you're looking for if you want, but all of these things are very generic for a reason, and it's because now you get to kind of interact with it, and ask the tool to create what you need. So just kind of show you, first grade up to college level work, the topics that you want to.
And again, this goes a little bit with what we talked about prior, is like in Finland, where it's really important that the teacher helps develop those AI tools. Well, this is developed, but at the same time, we're putting and feeding it what we want it to do. So that's another helpful way of doing it. So.
Yeah. And so I just put in a prompt. You can kind of see how that looks. It looks a lot like a document that you can definitely edit and interact with and ask, Khanmigo to change whatever you might need if to make it more specific to your lesson, because obviously it's very generic start to that. Sharing it's really easy, exporting it, getting it out of this style and into the hands of your students. Just really an incredibly useful, but look at how fast it created something out of nothing. And I think we have the vision, we have the power, we have the thing in mind, and we just are having a tool that helps execute that a little bit quicker.
And providing us some of that time where we have more time to be the creator and to be thinking about what's going on and to be more critical in our own practice. So there's Khanmigo via Khan Academy, and play. Go out and play. Just open it up, see what you think, and you might just find that you've got an AI assistant in Khanmigo. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.